In 2017, a single flaw in a piece of software led to one of the most devastating data breaches in history. Equifax, a company trusted with the financial secrets of millions, was hacked, exposing the personal information of 147 million Americans. Social security numbers, birth dates, and credit card details were stolen, leaving millions vulnerable to identity theft. This is the story of how a small oversight turned into a global scandal, the hunt for the culprits, and the fallout that shook the world of cybersecurity. Hey cybercrime fans, welcome back to the channel, where we unravel the world's most shocking data breaches, hacking scandals, and high-stakes FBI investigations. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell to stay locked in for weekly dives into cybercrime stories like the Equifax data breach. Today, we're exposing the 2017 Equifax hack, a cybercrime catastrophe that compromised the personal data of 147 million people, making it one of the largest data breaches in history. Imagine this: your social security number, credit card details, and personal info are stolen from a company you never even chose to trust. That's what happened to millions in the Equifax data breach. From a tiny software flaw to a global FBI manhunt, this story has it all: hackers, identity theft, and corporate negligence. So, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's dive into the Equifax cybercrime that shook the world. Who was Equifax? Before we unpack the Equifax data breach, let's talk about the target. Equifax, headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, is one of the big three credit bureaus in the U.S., alongside Experian and TransUnion. These companies collect and store sensitive financial data on nearly every American adult: social security numbers, credit card numbers, addresses, and more. By 2017, Equifax held data on over 800 million consumers and 88 million businesses worldwide, making it a goldmine for cyber criminals. Equifax's job was to safeguard this data, but here's where things went wrong. Their cybersecurity practices were shockingly lax. In 2017, Equifax relied on a web application framework called Apache Struts to run parts of its online systems. Apache Struts was popular but had a known vulnerability, CVE 201-75638, that allowed hackers to execute malicious code remotely. A patch for this flaw was released in March 2017, but Equifax failed to apply it. This oversight was like leaving the vault door wide open at a bank, and hackers were ready to walk right in. The hackers, a state-sponsored threat, the Equifax hack, wasn't the work of lone basement hackers. It's widely believed to be a state-sponsored operation. In 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice indicted 4 Chinese military officers from the People's Liberation Army, accusing them of orchestrating the breach. These hackers, part of a unit called PLA Unit 61,398, were cyber warriors trained to exploit digital vulnerabilities for financial and strategic gain. The hackers operated with military precision, using advanced tools and techniques to remain undetected for months. Their motive? Likely a mix of financial profit selling stolen data on the dark web and geopolitical espionage, gathering intelligence on millions of Americans. The scale of the Equifax data breach suggests a well-funded, highly skilled team, not a random group of cybercriminals. This was cybercrime on a global stage. How the Equifax hack happened, let's break down the Equifax data breach step by step. It's a chilling example of how a single flaw can lead to catastrophe. The hack began in March 2017, when the hackers exploited the Apache Struts vulnerability in Equifax's online dispute portal, a web application where consumers could challenge credit report errors. Technical breakdown: the Apache Struts exploit the vulnerability, known as CVE 201-75638, was a remote code execution flaw in Apache Struts. Here's how it worked. Initial access: the hackers sent malicious HTTP requests to Equifax's dispute portal. The Struts flaw allowed them to inject commands that executed on the server, giving them a foothold. Privilege escalation: once inside, they exploited weaknesses in Equifax's network to gain higher-level access, moving from the web application to sensitive databases. Data exfiltration: over 76 days, from May to July 2017, the hackers accessed 51 databases, stealing 147 million social security numbers, 15 million driver's license numbers, and 209,000 credit card numbers. They used encrypted channels to transfer data to servers outside the US. The hackers used tools like Metasploit, an open-source penetration testing framework, to automate parts of the attack. Metasploit allowed them to craft custom exploits for the Struts vulnerability, making the breach fast and efficient. They also employed command-and-control servers to manage the stolen data, routing it through multiple countries to cover their tracks. Equifax's failure to patch the Struts vulnerability was critical. The Apache Foundation had released a fix on March 6, 2017, but Equifax's IT team missed it due to poor patch management. A Senate report later revealed that Equifax's security team scanned for the vulnerability but failed to detect it in the dispute portal, leaving the door open for the hackers. The stolen data, the Equifax cybercrime, wasn't just about quantity, it was about the quality of the data. Social security numbers are the keys to identity theft, allowing criminals to open bank accounts, file fake tax returns, and take out loans. The stolen data was sold on the dark web, with prices ranging from $5 to $20 per record, generating millions for the hackers. Some data was likely used for espionage, targeting individuals with security clearances or financial influence. Victim stories. The human toll the Equifax data breach wasn't just a corporate scandal, it ruined lives. Let's hear from some victims whose stories, reported in lawsuits and news outlets like the New York Times, show the devastating impact. Emily from California. Emily, a 30-year-old nurse, discovered fraudulent credit card charges of $8,000 after her data was stolen. Her credit score plummeted, delaying her dream of buying a home. "I felt violated," she told CNN. Equifax was supposed to protect me, but they failed. David, a veteran, a retired Army veteran, had his identity stolen to file fake tax returns. He spent 2 years fighting the IRS to recover $12,000 in withheld refunds. "I served my country, but Equifax left me defenseless," he said. The Martinez family. This Texas family faced chaos when hackers used their stolen Social Security numbers to open loans. They spent thousands on legal fees and credit monitoring to restore their finances. These stories highlight the ripple effects of the Equifax hack. Victims faced years of financial stress, with some losing homes, jobs, or savings. The breach affected 44% of the U.S. population, making it a national crisis. Discovery, a delayed response. The Equifax data breach went undetected for over 2 months. On July 29, 2017, Equifax's IT team noticed suspicious network traffic and hired cybersecurity firm Mandiant to investigate. By August 2nd, they confirmed a breach, finding evidence of unauthorized access in the dispute portal. The hackers were blocked, but the damage was done. Equifax's response sparked outrage. The company delayed public disclosure until September 7, 2017, leaving millions unaware their data was compromised. Worse, 3 Equifax executives sold $1.8 million in stock before the announcement, raising suspicions of insider trading. The delay fueled distrust and amplified the Equifax cybercrime scandal. The FBI investigation. A global pursuit, the FBI and Department of Justice launched a massive investigation into the Equifax hack, working with international agencies to track the culprits. Here's how they unraveled the case. Forensic analysis. The FBI's cybercrime unit analyzed Equifax's servers, focusing on log analysis. Experts examined server logs to trace the hacker's entry point, identifying malicious HTTP requests to the Struts application. Malware detection. Mandiant found traces of custom exploits, confirming the use of Metasploit and command-and-control servers. Network tracking. The FBI traced data exfiltration to servers in China, using IP analysis and packet sniffing to map the hackers' routes. The Chinese connection. In 2020, the DOJ indicted 4 PLA officers, Wu Jiang, Wang Qian, Su Yanjun, and Lu Lei, based on digital evidence. The FBI linked the hackers to PLA Unit 61398, known for cyber espionage. They found encrypted communications between the hackers and Chinese servers. But jurisdictional barriers made arrests impossible. Congressional and FTC probes the investigation extended beyond the hackers. A Senate report criticized Equifax's preventable failure to patch the Struts vulnerability. The Federal Trade Commission investigated Equifax's data security practices, finding violations of consumer protection laws. The outcome, consequences, and settlements. The Equifax data breach had no arrests due to the hacker's location in China, beyond U.S. jurisdiction. However, Equifax faced severe consequences: settlements. In 2019, Equifax agreed to a $700 million settlement, including $425 million for consumer compensation and $275 million in fines. Affected consumers received up to $125 for free credit monitoring. Leadership fallout. CEO Richard Smith resigned, and Equifax overhauled its security team. Security upgrades. Equifax spent $1.4 billion on new cybersecurity measures, including better patch management and encryption. The DOJ's indictment of the PLA officers was symbolic, signaling U.S. resolve to combat state-sponsored cybercrime, even if arrests were unlikely. Impact on cybersecurity. The Equifax cybercrime reshaped the cybersecurity landscape. Stricter regulations. The breach spurred laws like the California Consumer Privacy Act, giving consumers more control over their data. Patch management. Companies prioritized timely software updates to avoid similar vulnerabilities. Consumer awareness. The hack increased demand for identity theft protection services and froze credit reports. The Equifax hack exposed the risks of centralized data storage and the threat of state-sponsored cyberattacks. It remains a cautionary tale for corporations and consumers alike. Victim stories revisited. Fighting back? Let's check back with Emily, David, and the Martinez family. Emily rebuilt her credit, but now freezes her accounts regularly. David recovered his refunds but avoids online transactions. The Martinez family cleared their debts, but remains wary of credit bureaus. Their stories, shared in the Washington Post, remind us that the Equifax data breach left lasting scars. The legacy of the Equifax breach, the Equifax data breach, is a stark reminder of how fragile our digital lives are. A single unpatched flaw led to a cybercrime that affected 147 million people, exposing corporate negligence and the power of state-sponsored hackers. The FBI's investigation showed the challenges of fighting global cybercrime, while Equifax's failures pushed the industry toward better security. As we navigate the digital world, the Equifax hack teaches us to protect our data and demand accountability from companies. If this deep dive into the Equifax cybercrime kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button, share this video, and comment below. Have you been affected by a data breach? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching this epic breakdown of the Equifax data breach. If you loved this cybercrime story, subscribe for more tales of hacks, heists, and FBI investigations. Check out our playlist on famous data breaches from TJX to WannaCry. Stay safe online, and we'll see you in the next video.